Hi, I'm Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Good morning and welcome to the challenge. As always, we'd like to first thank God for another opportunity and thank you, the viewers, for tuning in. We are excited about this season on the challenge. It is indeed challenging times. So we've made certain that we could meet the challenge by making sure that we have a co-host that will sit here with us on the challenge and give a perspective that I, unashamedly will admit that I can't give. Being someone who has tons of experience in the political arena, in the business arenas, and those kinds of places, and maybe I shouldn't have said tons, but it feels that way because the load is really heavy sometimes. I am a bit jaded. I will not apologize for that. It's my experience, and frankly, I hope that it makes a difference to you, the viewers, because I think that having had those experiences should mean something, and it should make me a better teacher, if you will, and better equipped to share with you the travails that we often face in trying to succeed in this life and to make this journey we call life worthwhile. We're excited, as I said, about this season on the challenge, and Mckenzie Seldon, our dear co-host, is with us this morning, and she certainly brightens up the set and makes coming to work just that much more pleasurable. Welcome, Mckenzie.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good to be with you.
You too.
Yeah,
always.
I hope you had a good few weeks off.
Nice.
Okay,
Relaxing.
fantastic. I can't. I'm wondering. What your thoughts are, given, I guess, the current state of affairs that are being so, acknowledged and flashed across the screens and television these days. How do you feel personally about all of the things that you're hearing and seeing in the media today?
I feel a couple of reasons, couple different things. When I first heard about it, I thought that meant everything was going to be shut down. We can't do anything. I thought, businesses are done.
Sure.
Nobody's working.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's not the case.
Right.
People that do work for the government, I actually feel bad for them because they do
yes.
have to work and they're not being compensated for that, for their hard work. And also a lot of people are being let go.
Yeah.
Because there's no money to pay them.
Right.
And that's really too bad. And especially when we're trying to build ourselves back up from the economic downfall.
Right.
This is kind of putting us 3 steps back,
Right.
and we're trying to go 3 steps forward.
Yeah. I know as a young lady who is just not too far removed from college yourself, having a son, a family of your own, you must be sort of at least a bit disappointed, with these people who are supposedly so bright, so seasoned, so experienced, not being able to resolve these kinds of issues. Does that strike some disappointment in you?
It is disappointing, Russell, because you would think that they would have already had this planned.
Yeah.
You know how much the budget is. You
Right.
know that we're getting to that ceiling where the breaking point
Sure.
is coming to be. I feel like this should have been already planned for 4 years ago.
Uh-huh.
At least in a making, let's have a plan A and B. So when we get to the situation, if we do get to that point, then we know what to do.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're struggling, they're rushing, they're like, oh, we need to hurry up and make a decision. And, can we have some more time? You don't need time. You should have already been able to have this situated.
And you know what? People wonder why younger people have no interest, if you will, in things that happen politically. why people, aren't necessarily tuned into what happens politically. 20 years of being in Congress, and some of these people are career politicians, and they're still fighting about, the ideology. I mean, that seems to me to be, a waste of time almost when you think. Yeah, I can't help but, because my thing is, I talk a lot about voter apathy, which simply means that, in my opinion, people aren't interested in the process. They have no confidence in our government to work the way it was intended.
Exactly.
Is that what your peers?
Yes, my peers definitely feel that way. There's so many people that I talk to that don't vote at all.
Oh, wow.
Because they don't feel it's necessary. They don't see any change. They don't see them reaping any type of benefits from voting. And I was brought up where we need to vote.
Absolutely.
Our families, our generations worked hard to get
Absolutely.
the rights to vote.
Absolutely.
So I'm just going to vote for the simple fact of that.
Sure, sure.
And I'm going to try to, at least follow politics enough so that I kind of know what politicians are saying and their views,
Right.
even though they're going to give us pretty much what we want to hear, and then it's when they get to into the position, what do they do after that? And I think that also discourages people from voting because, you say A, B, and C, and then you switch when you're in office and you're going totally to the left
Right.
and doing D, E, and
Right.
F.
Right.
And now, I've been deceived as a voter. And I'm like, well, what was the point of me voting for you if you're not going to do the things that you said you were going to do?
Wow. That is very telling, in my opinion. I mean, I as old as I am, and I know I got you by quite a few years, I kind of see things the same way. I really believe, I want to believe that my representative, who I send to, who I elect, or whoever is elected to represent us, is listening to me.
Thank you.
But it seems like to me, they think that they're being put in those positions to tell us what to do.
Exactly.
I mean, I've often heard, people, say, I'm here to govern, and I'm saying to myself, I thought really the perspective that a person should have would be to serve. You are a public servant,
Exactly.
and not necessarily here to tell me what you believe is best for me, given whatever options are out there. But it sounds like that's what they're doing.
Exactly. And, I think it's a power trip, really.
Oh.
That's people, when they get to that position, they have that power. So
Wow.
it's like, ooh, now I can tell people what to do.
Right.
And it's really more, politicians need to go out into the communities and find out what needs to be done and try to make those things happen. Like you said, they should be a public servant.
Right.
Serving the community, serving the people that voted for you.
Right.
Try to help them get things that they needed,
Absolutely.
And you can't do everything. You can't please everybody, and that's understandable, but at least try to make good on the things that you said that you would do. If you said 5 things, try to make good on 2 to 3 of them.
Right.
And then the other 2 to 3 things that you couldn't make happen, that's understandable. Like I said, you can't do everything for everybody.
Right.
You have to spread yourself around, but you definitely should help the people in the community. Those are the people that voted for you. That's the reason that you're even in this position in the beginning.
Yeah. It sounds like to me also that you feel like I do, that your word should mean something. And if I say something to somebody, pretty much my word is my bond. And that, it shouldn't be whether or not I can trust them to do what they said they would do. They ought to do what they said they're going to do. And it doesn't seem like to me that that's what's happening politically. It sounds like to me that I'll only assure you or give you my word that you can trust if you give me something in return, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost sounds like to me not necessarily politics, but almost like an unspoken code that happens in, and I hate to say it, it happens in almost any arena, business, in the streets almost, amongst friends. You can trust them to a point to honor their word. And when something for whatever reason, happens, or somebody else comes in and makes a suggestion, then they go back on their words, or they somehow change, or they don't honor their words the way they're supposed to. Is that part of how you feel as well? I mean, you're a young lady who obviously, as I said, just a few years removed from college. What's life like? At your age, if you will, and what kinds of things, Mckenzie, do you feel as if there is no necessary compromise on, that people ought to be able to truly say what they mean and mean what they say?
I believe that with politics, when people say they're going to do one thing and then they turn around and do something else, it's all like a give and take situation, in my opinion. Yes, I might say this, in the beginning, but then I hear a better idea from somebody else,
right,
which I need to change.
Sure.
Therefore, in that situation, I feel like it's necessary to make a better choice if you need to make that change. However, I think there are still some
But
factors.
communication has to exist.
Exactly.
Okay.
Communication is the biggest thing.
Okay.
You have to let people know that, yes, I wanted to do this for education, but now I feel like if we go to this route to get to the final product, is going to be a better way.
Okay.
So if it's going to make the situation better, or make what a person needs more efficient, more easily accessible,
right,
then yes, make those changes. But if it's going to be a negative outcome, or if it's for personal or selfish gains, then it's not something that makes me as a voter or as just a community citizen interested in what you have to say, or anything else anybody else is going to have to say, because now for my trust is pretty much diminished, because I don't know who to believe at this point.
Right.
I don't know if what you're saying is 100% credible, or for what you're saying is 100% credible.
Right.
And like I said, of course, it's just like when you're in high school or when you're in elementary school and you have those school elections,
right,
you're going to say the things to get those popular votes.
Right.
Of course, that's
right,
the way that you're going to get in office. But
right,
you still have to make good on finding the issues that need to be dealt with, the
right,
important issues,
right,
and dealing with them.
Sure. I think that's well said. I really do. I just don't know where people necessarily get off track. I do agree with you. I think that the honorable thing to do is, if there is a better idea, and if it truly is for a common good, and everybody says that we're trying to make America better, our community better, and we're trying to make a difference in our community, then there's enough common ground, I would think, for almost any idea that helps to get us to that point to be added to the equation. I just don't know, what happens when people, sort of renege, on their word, whether or not they should be given another chance, if you will. And how many chances do you give them?
You get, yeah. Baseball, 3 strikes, you're out. So, and three chances is a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
3 chances is a lot.
Yeah.
And I think also that, like I said before, politicians, they need to serve the community. Find out what the community needs,
right,
and make those things happen. People will trust you more. People will be more apt to like you and want to vote for you, because they see you making real changes. And that's another thing. People need to see change. Yeah. They need to see it happening. They can't just, it can't just be something that's kind of in the background. I need to see a physical difference, and from when you first came in to when you're leaving. Somebody wants to see something different.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
then it shows your progress, shows that you did something.
Yeah, it's something tangible. And we certainly don't see enough of that, unfortunately. Enough. Yeah, it seems to benefit a small few, when people are in political office, and most of us seem to be left out of the equation. I think you're right on point. That's very telling also, too, to me. I just often am not sure of whether or not folks are tuning in to those kinds of things that impact our lives, and whether or not they're talking about them, or whether they're discussing them, or what kinds of conversations they're having even with themselves, about, the impact of this or that on what I do for myself and for my family. But it's clear to me that you have that foundation, and that you know that those things are vital and critical to life in this country, and that we should be aware of them. Well, Mckenzie, our time is up, and it truly has been a pleasure to have you on this segment of the challenge. We look forward to more conversations with you about current events. We want your perspective. Quite frankly, we need your perspective here at accesstv.org. I think that unfortunately too often the perspective of younger folks like yourselves is being left out of the equation, and we can no longer afford to do that. So thank you so much for your contribution, and we'll look forward to more conversations with you.